It is still Sound Health on Lagos television. Giving more insights on cerebral palsy is retired Air Vice Marshal Femi Gbadebo, OFR, founder of Benolaboss Cerebral Palsy Initiative. Thanks for joining us via Zoom this evening.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, cerebral palsy affects more than 17 million people worldwide. Why is it still difficult to understand?
Cerebral palsy is not difficult to understand. It's just that it is one of those conditions where that affects those who have it. You know, it's not infectious. It is not contagious, and so unlike maybe COVID or Ebola or stuff like that, or even malaria, it's like if you have it, you have it, everybody else gets on with their life. So there's no money to be made, and as a result, big business, I'm talking about pharmaceuticals and all that, have moved on. And so it is that child and the family that have deal with this condition that are struggling on their own to cope. And unlike a lot of neurodevelopmental disabilities like autism or Down syndrome or even attention deficit disorder and all that, where the child can be taught to do something, can be dressed up, can be made presentable in public. A lot of children with cerebral palsy deteriorates, not because the condition is worse, but you see, they lose control of their muscles, they lose control of their tongue, they lose control of so many things. So they salivate, you know, they're always salivating, they are incontinent, that means they don't have control over their bowels in terms of urine and toileting and so on. So unless we get these parents to be properly educated and equipped on how to keep these children neat, healthy, and tidy as they grow older by 5, 6, 7 years old, they're not comfortable to interact with in public. And so a lot of people stigmatize these children. Religion, tradition says, oh, some people say they are snake children. Some people say there are some issues. You can imagine a child that's 10, 20 years old that still doesn't have control of the neck, that is unable to sit like a normal child, that is unable to grab a cup or even drink water and so on. This is the unfortunate situation that we are dealing with cerebral palsy. We are fortunate today that some people have mild cases. There's a lot of awareness now. People are seeing those mild cases, those of them that can walk, those that have gone to school, those that have gone to university, and those that can speak and so on. But these are just a very tiny number amongst those living with cerebral palsy. The real bad cases are stuck at home, because when a mother tries to take this child to the hospital, and she gets rejection at the bus stop, in the process, and everywhere. And the child is, like I said, about 7, 8 years old, can't walk. The woman has to carry the child. You find that she begins to have back pain, she begins to have all kinds of issues. And so, gradually, the child is stuck at home. Even members of their families walk away from them, because the idea is that maybe you should go and dump this child somewhere and get on with your life. We deal with parents, and I'll tell you, there are parents with a child that is 14 years old and above, especially when the CP child is their first child. And you find that the husband and wife have not been able to come together in agreement one way or the other to have another child, because they are afraid that they may have another child like that. So there's tension. There are things that we're not discussing. There are, psychological issues, depression. You see, it costs a lot of money to take care of such a child.
This condition is the most common childhood disability around the globe. There's a broad lack of knowledge of what it is, and like you said, it is just being touched or felt at the peripheral part now. What is the cause of this condition?
Well, I'll say that a large percentage of the children are affected right from the womb. But there are a few of them that, that is for antenatal and certain conditions by the mother. But after they are born, there are some children that suffer jaundice, yellow fever, meningitis, and these conditions, not properly managed, result in brain damage. And this brain damage is what results in the development of the brain, so that motor signals that would tell the hand or the eye. See, the brain for most children with CP is okay, but signals are not being transmitted. It's like when you have electrical short circuit and you are getting light shutting on and off and all that. It's not so easy to figure out where this problem is coming from. But at the end of the day, once it has happened, it is said that there is no cure. But managing options exist. And like most people say with autism being a spectrum, everything in life is a spectrum. There is no perfect, example of a child with cerebral palsy. It depends on how the child is affected. It can affect the lower limbs. It can affect one side of the body. It can affect all parts of the body, to the extent that even in trying to speak, you can see the child struggling with all the muscles in the face and so on. So it's a difficult thing to do. But in the first year or two, nobody can tell you how badly the child is going to be affected. So it's a question of there is a problem, and we have to continue to follow up with therapy. There's what's called early intervention, where you see the parents are the ones who are with this child 24/7. And we need to give them support in terms of information so that they know what to expect. And then, like I talk about, financial assistance with the kind of medication, the kind of food intake, and most important, toiletries. You understand? Because if the child doesn't have a good dental hygiene, then nobody's going to come around the child. If the parents cannot afford diapers and regular changes or keeping the house clean, nobody wants to come visit that family. And so these are the situations that we must, as a society, from government to private sector, begin to figure out how do we help these people, how do we identify them, and what can we do to educate them and to assist them to better cope with these children. Those of them who get this early intervention would be able to go to school, we're able to do certain things. In fact, I'll tell you, today we have some of them that are married, some have children, there are those who drive cars, there are those who are making a very good career for themselves. And these are the body examples. And so parents with children that are under 3, 4, 5 years old need to be exposed to situations like this, people like this, so that they know that there is hope. They know that the world is not in an end. And then we must encourage them also to consider having 1 or 2 more children.
Right. Because
the chances that you'll have 2 children with CP is very, very slim. And the beauty of having another child is that that child will end up being a very big helper, both in encouraging the one with CP and in also assisting the parents in managing this child that is affected with cerebral palsy.
The picture you just painted now, truly it is a difficult situation. Parents are faced with non-inclusion, high level of suspicion laced with myth, and some of the challenges faced with persons living with the condition. And so I'm going to ask, many individuals and their families still lack access, or not to talk of support. There's limited funding limited access to education now. How do we achieve or change this narrative?
It's by talking. It's by raising awareness. It's about celebrating World CP Day. It's about getting those of them who are doing okay to accept their situation and to begin to talk about it. You see, I have a son who's 25 years old. And in the last 12, 13 years, we've been out there with my son. We've talked about him. And we deliberately decided that we're only going to show the positive side of cerebral palsy. What this means is that I'm constantly out there with him, his brothers, sisters, showing him in a good mood, in happy mood, doing everything we can to show that being with him is positive, not negative, not negative. And hopefully in the process, getting other people to come out and shine about their situation. And then, you see, what you don't know, you are afraid of. A lot of friends, family, neighbors who walk away is because they're afraid, because they do not understand. And like I said, religion and tradition is still working negatively. You see, when people are talking about miracle, talking about a cure, talking about this and that, they're actually just trying to make money out of your bad situation. So the more parents that we can educate about the reality of what's going on, the more people will be out there. You see, when you come and say, have you been to, I can take you somewhere. It is that parent that will say, my child does not need a miracle cure. My child is fine. What I need from you, my friend, is maybe
your support.
Just come and spend some time with us. Maybe to stay with the child for a little while so that like a woman can go to the salon and do her hair or go to the market. You know, so I can have what the white man calls respite. You see, parents who are staying with these children 24/7, they need a break. And they also need friends who will say, you know what, I'll talk to somebody to get some diapers, I'll talk to this, I'll do this, I'll talk to my place of worship, I'll talk to my place of work, and so on and so forth. That's why we try to talk to employers of labor and anybody who would listen to understand that that staff of yours that have a special child, what they need is understanding from management so that they can have that extra assistance from management. The medications are expensive. Therapy is expensive. But do you know that if we come together as a group, everything can, the prices can hit rock bottom.
As always, every year, key players are always advocating the need to celebrate and support those living with cerebral palsy now, embrace diversity, and to help create a more accessible future for everyone now. How do we ensure the society is accessible to these children with the condition? How do we achieve this?
Well, when everybody is well informed so that we are no longer afraid of them, when we begin to show them love, and when we begin to create access, access means that we make sure that the roads are open, there is public transportation, there is toilet facilities in every public facility. In short, we make sure it's restaurants, cinema, shopping malls, everywhere is open. Then, of course, you see, as a society, as corporate organizations, as religious organizations, we begin to see, now, should this woman be carrying this child to go to a shopping mall on her back? No. She needs some kind of mobility, wheelchair, and so on. So we begin to figure out how can we get these things for them. And not just any wheelchair. There are specific to type assistive devices that they can use to walk. You see, if you have a wheelchair, if you have a walking device, and government fails to provide a walkway between your house and the bus stop, or between the bus stop and the hospital or the shopping mall, how are you going to move? So we need to talk to our legislators. We need to talk to ourselves. We need to begin to ask questions. What kind of, if I take my child now to a shopping mall and he needs to go use the toilet, what toilet is he going to use? Until we make sure you go to a fast food restaurant, anywhere, do you understand? We must train the staff in the restaurants, the staff at the airport, the staff at everywhere, you understand? To be prepared to receive people like that and to make them welcome, to make their parents welcome. And then you will see that it will become easier to come out. The more they come out, the more we see them, the more we understand them, and the more we make them feel at home.
Retired Air Vice Marshal Femi Gbadebo, OFR, founder of Benolaboss Cerebral Palsy Initiative. Thank you so much for your time and insights on cerebral palsy.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
All right, we now bring you trending health reports. Please stay tuned. It is still Sound Health on Lagos Television. More to come in a moment. This is where we drop the anchor on today's edition of Sound Health. Whatever you do, show love and care for persons with disabilities. Do not discriminate. They are special. For comments and inquiries, please send SMS to 0035826603 or follow us on social media at LCV Social #SoundHealth. Remember, COVID-19 is not a hoax. Adhere strictly to all precautionary measures. Stay safe always. A sound health is a sound mind. Make healthy living your choice.